Hey guys, what it is? Your girl Cadillac. It is dark in here. Let's see if that light will give me anything. Nope, it's backlit. So I don't know. I'm just working with what I got right now. I am extremely tired. I told y'all I went and got me an energy drink. I told y'all we was gonna finish Miss Tree's walk um, picture, and I started getting extremely sleepy. But then I remembered that I need to keep my word. I said I was gonna work on this, so I'm just gonna. It's one something. Let's see. What time is it? 1:04. Yeah. I don't work in the morning though, so thank God. But I do need to get in touch with it's some side business I have to do. Like the tax deadline is coming up. So and when you call IRS, girl, you can't even get through. So I do need to do something in the morning. I need to get up early enough to be able to call them. All right, so we are setting up the tablet to play a video. I'll play an old video of mine. This is coming up on, well, actually not coming up on, it just passed. It's been 22 years and 1 day since my husband's been wrongfully incarcerated. This is Project Reach the World, my art that I do to tell my husband's story, to attempt to break his story of being wrongfully incarcerated and get it to go viral. That has always been my goal since MySpace. Uh, but I'm losing this battle, girl. But yeah, so let's get a video going and then we're gonna finish up Miss Tree's walk. So what it is, you guys, it is your girl Cadillac. Yes, I am Cadillac Dixon. I'm the Draw My Life prison wife. I am the legally blind artist that is rapping and painting for justice, hoping to see justice before all fades to black. Okay, it's your girl Cadillac. I can't get my Wi-Fi to connect. Hold on, so I could play my tablet. So Wi-Fi in my house ain't playing good. Okay. I'm just gonna be working on her hair and then the outline I'm gonna draw in her face. Hopefully we get to that point. But we're gonna start with working on all the black areas of like the hair, the eyebrows. She has on black glasses. So anything that is black is what we're gonna do now. I forgot, I think her shirt is black too. So I'm scrolling down my YouTube. It's hard to find my videos because I do have over 5,000 videos on my YouTube channel. But it's a specific one I'm looking for that goes right with the anniversary of him being wrongfully convicted. It's not that one. Let's see. Maybe it is this. They know we can't fight this stuff. They already know. We walk up in that. Oh, okay. Is it playing? Courtroom. You up? No. It's connected to my phone. I'm sorry, guys. It's connected to my phone. Turn that Bluetooth off. So now my phone is disconnected. Now I can connect my tablet to it. Okay.
Already look guilty.
Come on
You
now.
look like you did this. They don't understand our way of dress, the way we express ourselves with our hair. They don't understand that all they see is you fit that description. You look like that. You look like someone that did it.
Come on.
Yeah, okay, I'm back. What it
Alright,
is,
let's get
it's
to
your little
paying.
Cadillac. And my phone yesterday, you already know what happened. It cut off because the storage was full. Still working on that situation. But I guess when I watched the playback of the video I put out, it couldn't have been at a better time. I think it ended perfectly, actually. But where I left off,
Where's
I
the
was talking about
screenshot
the
of the
response
picture?
after my after going to trial
Oh,
with
here
my
it is.
loved one.
Okay,
And
so that's the picture. I don't know
I
if you
was
can see
telling,
it because it's
like,
so dark.
recreating
This is
the
what we're
scene
gonna
of how it
finish.
was and what happened because there are a lot of emotions, that I have kept bottled down inside of me for years. Years I've kept these bottled inside of me, and I don't want them inside anymore. They don't do me no good. They just fester inside and
Okay.
finally come out. And I'm releasing it here on YouTube, whether y'all watch or whether y'all don't. Because even me watching it back, I could feel that pain. That's pain. Those are pain. Those are tears. That's cries for help. It's so much, and I could feel it. I could feel it. So where I left off with this story was
Paint out the
that
top.
my mother, I had been laying in the bed, I don't know how many days, didn't keep track of
So
time
this
or
is
anything. I don't know how long it was, but I laid in that same bed, the same.
so this is the day after trial, which would have been like today, April the 11th. So trial was on April 10th. So I like once I got home, I went crazy. But once I got home, I laid in the bed for days, and the same thing I wore to court. So this is where this story is coming from.
Those that I wore to court with Marcello for days. And I had a little 2 month year old really at this time. Oh no. By the time we
Oh,
went to
I'm
trial,
so mad.
she
You
was
can't see
9
me.
months.
Can't
She
see
was
me
9 months
painting.
old.
Why is it
And
so blown out? Okay, hold
my mother took care of her during that time. I was not even available. I wasn't even available to myself. I
Come on.
laid in the bed, and you know you can't do that
Right
with a
there.
9 month old.
on. Okay.
So my mother came to me one day, and I'm laying in the bed, and she was like, "Keita, you gotta move on with your life. You gotta move on. I'm sorry this happened, but you gotta move on." And I thought she was being so cruel, like my mother was tough, like I was telling y'all. Like she was no nonsense. There's no time for that. Figure this out. You know what I mean? Which really meant get your butt up out that bed and keep it moving. Okay, because that's what a lot of us do with our pain. That's what she had to do with her pain. When there was pain and there was things she had to deal with and she didn't know how to deal with them, you just got to keep it moving. That's what you got to do. You just got to keep moving. You got kids. I had kids. She had kids. You can't stop. You got to move on. You got to get it together. You know how many lives depend on you getting it together? How many lives depend on me getting it together, including my own life? So I gotta get it together. That's what she meant. But I didn't take it that way. When you're younger, your mind develops. You don't clearly understand everything. And I thought she was doing it out of a place of of just being mean or just not understanding. No, she did that out of a place of love. She loved me, and she couldn't see me stay in that hole. Get up, Keita, and figure it out. My dad, my dad came to me, and surprising enough, he had a whole different response. My dad, he's a person that don't have a lot of words. When he got something to say, he gonna say what he got to say, then he's gone. He's not gonna beat you over the head with it. He gonna keep on telling you. He said it, and that's it. But he gonna say what he got to say when it's that time. And he came to me, and he was like, Keita, it's not always fair. Things like this that happen, they out of our control. You can't always, it's not always fair. You can't always determine how it will go, because I kept telling my mom that I believed in the justice system. I did back there. I believed in it because it's set up in a good way. It's set up good. If you're accused in a crime, you sit before a jury of your peers, not just one person giving you an opinion. It is a big group of people from your community that reflect your same views, your same interests. You sit before a judge that is not supposed to be biased. He's supposed to be a level playing field that will give you a fair judgment. This is what we see. This is what we see. We see that police do their job. I don't know. I have no clue. I'm sure for every bad one, there's 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 great ones. But there's a lot of them that when these cases come up, they just trying to get somebody. They gotta close this case. Cases can't just sit open. You can just have all these open, unsolved cases while you trying to figure out who did what. No, they gotta close that up. They gotta figure that out. Whether it's the right assumption, the wrong assumption. But the problem with the system is they've cut too many curves. They've shaved too many things off the side. It's became tainted by money. It's a money game. You got enough in your account, you can buy your freedom. You can buy your verdict. That's crazy. That ain't supposed to be in our system like that. That means only the rich get off. The poor suffer through it. But that's what's happening. The poor is suffering through it. They send us away with these charges, knowing we can't fight them. We ain't got no way to fight them. You give us that free lawyer that is really on your side, that lawyer ain't for us. And if we want any type of fair trial, we got to go out and spend stats on top of stats on top of stats. Who got stats? I ain't got none. You got some? You know somebody got some? When something happened, when someone died, you barely can bury your people. What the heck we finna get money for defense, legal defense? Thousands of dollars. Thousands. Let me tell you, it was thousands back then. I can only figure what it is now. Crazy. They know we can't fight this stuff. They already know when you walk up in that courtroom, you already look guilty. You look like you did this. They don't understand our way of dress, the way we express ourselves with our hair. They don't understand that all they see is you fit that description. You look like that. You look like someone that did it. That's exactly how you go in to trial. So I thought the system was fair. And I said, yeah, so we gonna find out at the end of this fair trial that they don't have anything. Just like it's been publicized with O.J. Simpson that because the glove didn't fit, you had to acquit.
Oh, that's crazy. They just said he passed away. That's crazy that this is an old video from like 2020. This is crazy that I said that.
Evidence.
They're playing it
I
today.
didn't know you can put somebody away without evidence. Nothing that they can touch. You don't have to have fingerprints. You don't have to have murder weapon or crime weapon. Not murder weapon, crime weapon. You don't have to have that. You don't have to have anything. You need a person that said, yeah, she did it, yeah, he did it, and you are gone. And a lot of times they're backstage, willing and dealing, putting this person against that person. If you say something about that person, then you can get off. And if you say, when it's your life at stake, you ain't gonna turn. You ain't gonna turn on that person, this person. Your life at stake. You ain't gonna turn. You gonna stand your ground and tell your truth? You trying to get home like everybody else. So these are things I didn't know. And you know what? I can't blame you if you don't know. They don't want you to know this. That's how I was able to keep going on, because the average eye thinks that everything is fine. It's not fine. There's infection in the system. It has an infection, but on the outside, it looks like it's good and healthy and working. They rehabilitating our loved one. That's a different story. Is prison really rehabilitating anybody? Can you let me know that in the comment system? In the comment section, is prison rehabilitating? Because prison is supposed to be where you do something wrong. There is a need for prison. You have to have a prison. Because when people actually do things wrong, you have to be punished. Even with a kid, when a kid does something wrong, they have to be punished or they think it's okay to do it. So you have to get a punishment. But like it was an interview I just heard from Patrick Peterson. This guy that did over 30-something years in Florida prison. And what he said was the right amount of punishment can change a person's life. But too much punishment can ruin a person, completely destroy them. And that's where they got it wrong. They're not changing the lives they're supposed to change. They're ruining the lives, running them. And you want a life that's been ruined for all these years to come back to your society. That's what you really want? Or do you want a rehabilitated person that realized their errors? They not, they realized they was wrong. Should have been out there doing this. Should have been out on the street. Should have been doing this. And they're able to curb their ways and come back to be a viable part of society. Many of these prisoners that y'all mark off could be great citizens now. Probably better citizens than we got now. Y'all marked them off. Y'all threw them away. You committed a robbery, go away. You're done. Your life is over. You're no good to society. You can never do nothing for the human race again. Really? But that's how they set you away. They send you away like that. None of this did I know back then. I believed in our system. And the reason I don't believe in it now is because what I thought should happen in his case didn't happen. It's so crazy. Back then, I thought that this was just some crazy, this was crazy. This was an injustice. This can't be right. This was a mistake. Y'all made a big mistake, you guys. Come on, please help me. This is a mistake. I didn't know. It ain't no mistake. It's a design. They designed it like that. Do you know how many of the same type of stories that I tell about Marcello, I actually hear from others how they didn't get fair trials. I seen a grown man. When I found out my little rap buddy, we were finna to be famous. Honestly, I was that freaking good. And with him, we had some hot songs out back then. We was doing the darn thing. And he was young. He was much younger than me. He got in some trouble, and it was like he was facing he was facing some time. And I sat there through his whole trial. Now his trial went a lot different than Marcello's. They deliberated all day. I sat there all day with him all day long, all day with him and his mama. Even after I think his mama had went down to the car, I was still sitting up there on the bench just waiting for his verdict. And the next day I came back and all day just waiting, waiting, waiting. At the end of that day, they came to a verdict. And thank God he was spared. It was the same type of situation. This young man could have been a Marcello easily, easily, because this was a trial. But it panned out. It worked out in his favor. He got a few years, and he got out. He had his babies. He moved on. He must have been real good because we ain't do music no more. But he wasn't marked off from society forever because of that. His children can grow up with him. He could teach his son, if he has a son, look, son, this ain't the way you want to go. You don't want to go to prison. You don't want to do that. Education is key. Education. That's what I drilled in my daughter. My mama drilled that into us. Education. She used to say, use your head for more than a hat rack. All the time when we were little kids, didn't understand that stuff, understand it now. And I drilled into my daughter the same thing. Education. Do you know in the third grade, they decide by grades, the grades your children are making, whether they're going to make some scholarships for your children or whether they need some more prison beds for your children. How in the world a a child in third grade, you already mark them for failure? You mark them for failure in third grade. That's what they are doing. Anybody that got some sons or anything, you better wake up because if you don't get your son on the right path, they got a path planned for your son. It's crazy. I didn't know none of this. He didn't know none of this. He didn't even know. Now, after hearing all these different people that I done seen that and got caught up in stuff and this and this and that, really, if Marcello was looking like he was going to take that 17 years, like, hey man, 17, that's way too much. Can you work something better out? They probably would have came up off of that 17 and walked it down, walked it down. But see, by Marcello being dead set, I'm innocent. I'm not doing time for something I didn't do. Oh, they already knew he wasn't bending. He wasn't breaking. They couldn't break him. So they broke him. They broke him. They broke him in a different way. But they couldn't break his will to fight for his life. They couldn't take that from him. They took his life instead, but they didn't take his, will to fight for his own life. He did that. He took that to trial. He stood behind what he believed. And I stood behind him. I stood behind him too. I believe in my heart that honestly, as I go further along, I really don't believe a robbery took place. You'll figure that out once I get to the end of story because I'm piecing this together. I'm piecing it together. I honestly don't even believe there was ever a freaking robbery. How about that? But my dad told me, ooh, I sure went off off the deep end. My dad told me, he was like, Keita, you know, these things happen and you're just gonna have to find a way to move forward. And it was crazy that my father was more gentle with me in that moment than my mother was. Get your ass up, Keita, and go. Yeah, but so
Yeah, she do
that's
got
how
on a
that
black
happened.
shirt. Can't even see it.
I was the
She got on a
artist
black shirt.
again, so we started preparing for sentencing date. All right, so sentencing date, I was supposed to get the character witnesses together. People were going to write letters, telling how he does this. He's a great father. He's a great family member. He works. He doesn't. I searched and searched. I couldn't find a family member to write any letters for him. I don't know a lot of other people that know him because he is not from Florida. So I don't really know a lot of people that like knew him growing up. I don't know anybody that knew him growing up, to be honest. He didn't really keep a lot of friends and stuff like that. So it was really no one I could go to. I did try to ask he was on house arrest, so I tried to ask his officer if he was able to write him a letter saying that he's been great while he's been on house arrest, that he's been looking for jobs actively and doing this and doing that. He had enrolled in some GED courses, and I was taking him to the GED courses, and he had ended up with a construction job and he said that that's not in their interest. He can't write that letter. So only letter that was written was mine, the baby mama. How credible does that look? Your baby mama. That's it. That's the one sitting in the your side. When they have the courts, the people on the different sides. So on his side, I'm sitting there, and that's it. The baby mama. Okay. They already felt like, he don't have nobody to care for him. Nobody's thinking about him. We could do pretty much what we want to him. And that's what the judge tried to do. So I got up and I wish I had this story. You know what? I would have it somewhere. But I wrote this plea. Like, please, just he's the one that helps me with my daughter. He's the one that paid her babysitting. He paid that out of his pocket. I didn't pay for babysitting. I couldn't afford it. He's the one that when she didn't have insurance, he was the one paying out of pocket for all of her different doctor visits and stuff. He was the one, she was a little green baby. When that little milk, that wick run out, he was the one buying extra milk, Pampers. He was the one watching her. Me and me, but it was both. He was doing just as much as I was doing. We were a team. And I pleaded to this judge, if you take him, what do I do? What does my child do? After pleading and crying and everything, oh, I forgot to tell you, the outfit that I wore I was the artist, so the outfit that I wore to trial, I sold myself. I designed it. I had bought the little fabric. I used to love to go back then. Walmart was 24 hours, and they had all this different fabric, and I used to love it. When I worked overnight, I would get up to like middle of the night and just go up to Walmart, get me some fabric, and start sewing. I used to sew all the time. So I made my outfit. I was ready. We were ready, and prepared. But it was me. It was an army of one fighting. So I went and I pleaded, please, what do I do?
Ooh, my hands are dead.
Take him.
They are tingling. Take a
Or
break.
just pleading for please, not some unreasonable amount of
Carpal
time.
tunnel is
17
worked up
years.
from doing my
A couple
daughter's
years, maybe
hair.
I could hold it down a couple years, but 17? And it was an advocate that came, and they was like, this doesn't make no sense. Marcello don't have no priors. Most time, people that commit these type of crimes have some type of juvenile record. They have this, they have that. They have things leading up to it. They don't just bust out and just commit robbery. So they were like, you know what? He's 19. He's young. He can be, rehabilitated. Let's send him to boot camp. And again, I will never forget this judge's response. The judge said, we're not even going to consider any type of boot camp. I believe that if Marcello Jackson was not stopped, the two victims would have been dead. They jumped to dead. How they be dead and you ain't even, they ain't even fired no weapon? How they dead? What you gonna die from? But if Marcello Jackson was not stopped, these two guys that you see would be dead. So Marcello needs to feel what he did, the weight of what he did for the rest of his life. That was that man's words. He said, if he was my son, I understand, I know. Sorry, that was the doorbell. But he was like, if he was my son, I would want somebody to have mercy on him too. But I feel like if Marcello Jackson was not stopped, these two guys would have been killed. So Marcello needs to feel the weight of what he done for the rest of his life. He said, honestly, I want to give him life, but just so he has a second chance of life one day, I will only give him 40 years. Gavel hit that desk again and it was a wrap. Crazy. Yep. It was over. That's what I had to, they took him to 33rd. That's the jail we had here. Took him there and it was over. That song that Alicia Keys had out, Falling,
Okay,
that
I'm gonna pour
video,
the
that was out. That was
paint
big.
back into the
And it was like,
thing.
I would see that
Can't
video.
see
That
it.
was the only thing that I could relate to. That was the only thing that I seen that seemed close to what I was going through. And they also have that one movie by Q-Tip, Prison Song. I used to watch that movie out. Every day I was watching that movie. It was the only thing that I could relate to. It was, I didn't see nobody going through this. I went through this alone. Alone. Really, like for real, alone. So, I felt alone. I didn't see anybody else around that was going through this. I didn't have nobody to talk to. You try to talk to people, people will give you the same responses. Just leave him. Like, he shouldn't have did what he did. Alright, I guess that's my cue. The video just ran out, my storage again. So, before I close up this video, I think it actually ended in a great spot again. It's all like piecing itself together. But before I close this out, I do want to show you two pieces of artwork that I've done, two different mediums. One being my writing skills combined with my drawing and illustration skills. And then the second one is going to be a rap that pertains to this subject matter. So the first one, this picture here, I drew this a long time ago. And I drew it even before it was shared. It says I shared it on Facebook September 30th, 2010. This is a long time that I've been working on Project Reach the World since 2006. So here it is. It's called Visitation. It was 2001. I was 21 years
Can't
old.
tell
My
if you
daughter
can
was
see it.
9 months old. 21 is usually about partying and having fun with friends. At 21 years old, I was dealing with single motherhood. My daughter's father had just got sentenced to 40 years. That was so inconceivable to me. You know, we had planned so much. All those plans just went down the drain. One moment
permanent
altered
marker.
the whole entire course. Marcello was a very good father. He spent every waking moment with our daughter. When he first went to jail, my daughter could sense something was wrong. She jumped at the glass when we would go visit him. She would jump at the glass, and it would look like she was wondering, why won't Daddy pick me up?
Oh, this
As
is
she jumped at the glass
dried
and
up.
touched on the glass and put her hand against where his hand was, she couldn't get him. He was so close, but yet he was so
Got another
far.
one.
And I knew she was like, why won't Daddy pick me up? She didn't understand. Project Reach the World. Okay, so the second thing that I'm going to share with you is a different form of art that I do. You know, I started out as a spoken word poet, but this one right here is not a, I'll link in the bottom a couple of my poems. I have one called 1020 Life that I did about this situation. You can check that out. And then I'll link another one that people used to mistake all the time for being Maya Angelou. It was not written by Maya Angelou. That was my poem. They thought I was just copying her. Now, I'm going to tell you, I was inspired. When I heard Phenomenal Woman, I was definitely inspired by her. But I wrote this myself. So I'm going to link both of those. That one's called Little Black Girl. I'm going to link both of those in the description box. But for today, I'm going to do a rap for you. So I flipped my poetry into being rap. And this one is called Statistically. And the reason that I wrote this song is because little kids, remember when I told you about how they decide whether your child, way back in like 3rd grade, if they're going to prison or if they need a scholarship for them. And that made me think, how can you just label them way back then? You don't even know they're not fully developed. So we all have statistics that they done put out about us. There's a statistic made about the black woman that she'll be pregnant, she'll be single, and she won't finish school, she's angry and black, and there's statistics over young black men that they're gonna end up in a grave or they're gonna end up in jail, and that's just not who we were created to be. We weren't created for that. That's a statistic, but you don't